Hey Reddit, before anything, let me tell you that I got discharged from the hospital 2 days back. Could have waited to vent or whatever, but I never imagined I would be in such dire need of advice. Yeah, let that sink in. Oh, and just to add a tiny detail, the day when I got admitted, aka 4 days back, was my wedding day. I'm all right now, but the cause of all this issue is my mother in law, and I feel drained. After taking so many biased suggestions from all my friends and family, I'll be writing anonymously. Let's start from the beginning. So, I'm allergic to soy. Nothing huge, right? Hopefully, many of you know someone who is allergic to soy, like it's common. But this simple piece of information wasn't enough for my mother in law. This woman, I seriously don't know what her problem is. It's been almost 2 years since we met one another, and she knew perfectly well about my allergy. But she didn't trust me, or didn't want to. Maybe she intentionally did this, who knows? Because in her words, she wanted to test whether my allergies are real or not. Like, is she for real? And she found no other day except for my own wedding when she purposefully fed me something causing a semi life threatening situation. And now she wants me to just let it go, dismiss it entirely like it wasn't a big deal. She truly expects it. So here's the story. I'm all decked up, fixing my veil seconds after my marriage. The vows are done and it was time to celebrate. Enter my mother in law, being all sweet and smiley. She saw me taking two good sized bites of the dish where she added soy. She knew and just watched. I was hungry as I hadn't had anything from the morning out of anxiety, and I don't even remember anything after that. When I woke up in the hospital with my body aching from the reaction and the injections, it wasn't exactly the ideal honeymoon idea. Now that I was just married, mother in law was nowhere to be found as she didn't even bother checking up on me while the doctor was talking to my family about soy. Of course, everyone was confused as they didn't know anything about soy being added, and at that moment, I wasn't in my right mind to guess who did this. I never imagined that anyone could stoop this low. In my head, it was some accident, but it wasn't. The caterers were asked and all that. But I was completely out of the picture. I was in the hospital, pricked with injections, and so upset because of the turn of events. And then I found out from my sister that the chef revealed how it was my mother in law who told him to add soy. To top this, my sister said that this information was going to be kept under wraps to avoid conflict and drama. Yeah, that's what my husband had agreed upon without even letting me know. And that was not going to work for me. I found out that he planned to keep it from everyone but his sis, stumbled upon him yelling at his mom for putting me at risk. That's how she got to know about it all. Apparently, the chef revealed that he wasn't sure about adding allergens as I had already informed him, but my mother in law insisted, saying it wasn't for me. This conversation had taken place over text, and she had paid him $300 just to add soy. The chef wasn't going to say all of this, but he was threatened by my husband before my husband found out that it was his mom and decided to protect her. The hero of this story is my sister because she made sure to get the screenshot of those messages. I was not going to take a drastic step before, but after what my husband did, it was over. So this man came to me while I was still hospitalized and asked me to keep this under wraps. He knew that my sis would tell me, so he wanted me to understand as his mom was a part of the family. I know my husband so well. After dating for all those years, it was clear that he wouldn't really stand up to his mom. He couldn't take a stand for himself, let alone for me. Out of love, I would normally ignore these red flags. But enough was enough. I was so angry and asked him if he really wanted this. But he was very casual and said that he is mad at his mom as well, but we should keep it between us to avoid drama and humiliation. His mom didn't even come to see me once or apologize. And my husband was sure that I would listen because That's what I had been doing for all these years. He didn't expect the screenshot in the family group chat that he woke up to the next morning. The screenshot of my mother in law's schemes was in front of them all. No one had replied to my text, although everyone had seen it. Now, I'm sure you guys understand that when someone is hospitalized, the last thing they can and should do is use their phone for hours. I got access to it rarely, so I had no idea if anyone even responded. Plus, my husband coming over with stressful news and asking me to keep shut about it all was nerve-wracking enough. Anyway, I had made up my mind. Funny enough, my mother-in-law showed up at the hospital apologizing. Oh, and listen to this. It wasn't exactly an apology for threatening my life or making me feel better. She just wanted me to accept her sorry and tell everyone to talk to her. People were giving her the cold shoulder after I exposed her. That was the only news that made me happy. I informed her that I wanted to do nothing with her and was going to divorce her son. Saying this, I made my sister throw her out. AITA for this? Update 1. It's been a week since I got discharged. I'm doing a little better now physically, although it is a bit hard mentally. I have filed for divorce, and considering I was married for like a week, it's all very stressful. The week which was spent in the hospital, I don't know, I desperately needed advice for exactly this. The man can't take a stand for me or even understand what I'm going through when I literally got hospitalized right in front of his eyes. How can I ever trust him to take care of me for the rest of my life? I can't. Am I doing the right thing? I understand that it's quite a big decision and asking it like this looks weird. But what do I do? Everyone has different opinions back home and they're all biased. I just can't take the burden of this marriage anymore. Update 2. So, my mother in law visited and gave her words of wisdom. It's been, 3 days since my last update, and this woman seems to not have a moment without letting me live peacefully. She told me that it wasn't her fault. She argued that she always found me basic and thought that I was after her son's money. She added that she just wanted to take a test to know if she could trust me, so I needed to stop overreacting about such a minor inconvenience and quit acting like a drama queen. It was weird to see how mother and son both were so entitled that they couldn't even believe that someone would have their own opinions. She said that I should be happy now that I had passed the test. She further added that I was doing all of this divorce drama as a means for her son to take my side. I repeatedly told her that I wanted to do nothing with her son anymore and I was done with their entire family. But it seems like she was not even listening to my words. She had this entire story made up in her head, and it was pointless to argue. So I did what gives me the most satisfaction, kicking her out. I know that looks rude, but what can I do? Your comments are quite nice. I love how some of you are directly jumping to getting a divorce and calling him a red flag. I'll be back with an update as soon as something interesting happens. However, I am hoping for interesting things to not happen at this point. I just want some peace in my life and no soy. Update 3. So, my husband and I are finally separated. It will take some time for our divorce to get finalized because the entire situation is anything but normal. My husband tried to reason with me by using really stupid reasons like his mom, so I told him to inform his mom that I will get a restraining order if any of his family members, including him, try to come to my place. I love how supportive my sister has been throughout, and deciding to come over here was probably one of the best things I did. He indeed is a red flag, just like his mom, and I'm so done taking his shit. I don't know what will happen to me in the future or if I will ever find love, but I do know that it is better to be single than to be in such a toxic household. I guess we're done here for now. Thanks, guys. NTA. And girl, like, You're telling me that this dude has the audacity to tell you to shut up while you are lying in a hospital bed? Major red flag alert. Run. I mean, just get well as soon as possible and divorce him away. Now I know some people might come at me by saying that divorce is a big decision and all that, but come on. Do you look at this dude and think that he is going to be anything of a husband for you? Nah. Mama's boy is all worried about his reputation, but his wife can just shut up. Idiot. I feel like smacking him. And the mom? Sweet Jesus, how can someone be this cruel and yet hold no accountability? Run from this fam, run away. NTA, and good Lord, sorry, but maybe you should look into the good side of all of this. This incident made you realize who your husband and in-laws are before it was too late. I get it. The wedding was already done, but think about it. You did not have to spend a single day with them. Had you continued this relationship without knowing what kind of people they are, you would be stuck in a cycle of emotional abuse, and God knows when it would end. Bless you, girl. Take care. Next story. My mom has a friend, we'll call her Mary, about my mom's age, that visited us every few months or so for about 10 years. She's a nice woman and is very conversational, but since I was a young girl, I was never fond of her. I remember she always had something to say about my appearance. Never anything bad or insulting, but the comments didn't make me feel good either. When I was about 11, 12, when I was developing breasts, we were all at the table eating. I stood up to grab something and Marie exclaimed, "Dangerous! 7950, you're getting boobs!" Everyone laughed except me. I remember that I was stunned, embarrassed, and didn't know what to do, so I went to my room and cried, not eating dinner. My mom came up later on and defended her, saying, "Hon, she's just jealous. Don't let it get to you." I did eventually. It still was humiliating. The comments were primarily about my hair, though. For reference, I have curly hair, about a 3C pattern. This was around the time that there wasn't much information about curly hair, so not only did I not know how to care for it, I was ashamed of it and always complained that I wanted it straight. It took me a long time, kindergarten to senior year of high school, to grow to love my hair now and properly care for it. Between those awkward stages of hating my hair, Marie's comments would be, "I wish I was able to just roll out of bed without doing my hair," or, "Your curls are beautiful, but I want to see it straight one day," or, and this one's my favorite, "Just brush your hair, then it'll look nice." At the time, I just dealt with it, and even if I told her to not touch my hair, that's an entirely different discussion, my parents would tell me to be nice. So this leads to what happened last night. Marie came to visit as per usual, and everything was all good and uneventful. Then, while we had dinner, she, like clockwork, said, "That's dangerous. 7950, you're braver than me. I can't pull off that hair. You should try straightening it." I had enough. So I glared at her. She said, "It's a compliment. I love your hair." I said, "That's not a compliment. And you know that." Shortly afterwards, I went to bed. This morning, my mom scolded me and said I was unnecessarily rude to Marie and ruined everyone's mood. I defended myself and basically said, "I understand that you're defending your friend, but these comments are not kind and have never made me feel good." It ended in a screaming match and I left for work. So, AITA? My parents think I am. Edit. Here's some info that getting repeatedly asked. I'm mixed race, part black, and Marie is fully black. Edit 2. Thank you all for your input and the supportive comments. When I got home from work, I thoroughly explained my point of view to my parents as well as how unfair it was to take Marie's side. My dad understands my mom isn't coming around. This isn't unusual, and unfortunately, there isn't much to do about it. I'm glad to hear that I'm NTA as a whole. Edit 3. Marie is not my aunt. NTA. This is a backhanded compliment, also known as a nice nasty. It's a passive aggressive tactic to hurt your feelings and manipulate you by saying it's your fault your feelings are hurt, not their fault. Get a book about passive aggressive behavior at the library. Make sure it has a quiz in it. Show your mom the part of the book that shows making mean comments and saying they are jokes is passive aggressive. Educate your mom and learn all the other subversive ways passive aggressive people are mean. Next time, respond, "Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining." And I, the only one weirded out that her mom defended her friend commenting on an 11-year-old's boobs by saying she was jealous? Of what? Puberty? That's so inappropriate. Everything this woman says is inappropriate. Nothing she said is a compliment. It's all backhanded. She's rude. NTA. NTA, it's not a compliment. I love your hair but would like to see it straight. If she loves your hair, then she loves your curls. End. So why would you need to straighten it, as then it wouldn't be the hair she apparently loves? My daughter has beautiful curly hair and I would die for her hair. One day, out of curiosity, we straightened it and oh my God, we both rolled around on the floor laughing so much I swear we both cried and wet ourselves. She managed to pick herself up off the floor, ran to the bathroom and wet her hair to get her curls back. Next story. My brother is having a destination wedding. I'm sure it'll be very nice. I'm a widowed single mom with 2 young kids. I'm not destitute or even hard up. My husband had insurance. We live in a paid off house and we have investments that provide me with an excellent amount of backstop to my salary. I would rather be in debt up to my eyes and be in his arms every night. Trust me. The wedding will cost about $2,200 for a week. It is a very good resort. I RSVP'd no. Maybe if it was in the summer, I would consider it a vacation, but I would need to take time off school. My in-laws are retired and they love watching the kids, but they are elderly. My husband was a little older than me, and my kids are a lot to take for a week. If I take the kids out of school and bring them to the wedding, then it will cost $5,500 since it would be sharing a room. That would put a massive dent in our budget. I know that my parents are still working to save for retirement, so this will be expensive for them. My brother called me right away to ask why I wasn't coming. I said I really wanted to come, but I just couldn't justify it. He said that I have lots of money in the bank. That's not really any of his business. And if, God forbid, something happens to me, my kids are going to need that money. I'm not going to blow a chunk of it on a wedding. He is upset that I won't be coming. He kept pushing until I finally admitted that I just didn't think it was the best use of my money. Then I said something I probably should not have. I said if he really wanted me there, then he could pay for the trip. He hung up and hasn't called back. My parents did call me though, and they said that I didn't need to hoard all my money. I'm torn. Am I being an a-hole by not splurging a little and going to my brother's wedding? Am I an a-hole for basically telling him he has to pay me to go? I can see his point of view, but I have a lot of other things I need to consider. I thought maybe an outside perspective would tell me if I'm being a bitch. Edit. Before everyone jumps on my brother, he came to my destination wedding, but it wasn't as expensive and he stayed in the same room as my parents, and my husband paid for everyone in our family that we invited. Opinion 1. NTA. It's a destination wedding. Those who have them know that they aren't going to have as many attendees than if they had a local wedding. It's just part of the deal. Not everyone can afford a $3,000 trip to attend a wedding. Your brother is the a-hole for continuing to bother you about it after you said no. My sister is also having a destination wedding this year. My husband and I just got married at the end of last year and couldn't afford to spend $5,000 on going to her wedding immediately after ours. My mom really wanted us to attend, so she offered to foot the bill. Asking someone else to foot the bill crosses over into a-hole territory. NTA, the insurance money and investment profits are all the financial support you have for the rest of your life from your husband. That $5,000 could go a lot further if you held it for your own retirement or the needs of the kids in the future. It is fine for him to have this wedding in whatever fashion he likes. But his a-hole move is thinking having money in the bank means you can spend it how he sees fit without thinking about how careful you should be. It's so disrespectful to comment on that. I'm sorry for your loss. The grief is unimaginable, I'm sure. I don't think it would be wrong to go and be celebratory and carefree with your kids if you wanted to go, even if they miss school. But it's only a choice you can make when you think through all your own plans and scenarios where that money might be necessary. Next story. My best friend, 27, female, and I, 26, female, have been friends for 20 years. Let's call her Lisa. Lisa is an amazing person and I love her to death. But I feel as though she isn't growing. She's stuck in her partying phase that I got over years ago. I have a full-time job, I'm planning a wedding, and I'm in the process of buying a house. I don't always have the time to go out. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind going to parties, clubs, and bars every once in a while. But Lisa wants to go every weekend and sometimes on weekdays. She gets upset at me if I say no and complains about how I'm boring and never hang out with her anymore. She calls me old, saying that I am a 60-year-old stuck in a 20s body. My fiance's birthday was yesterday. I planned a cabin trip with a group of friends and invited her. Since last night was his actual birthday, we had quite a bit to drink. It was a really great time. However, today we all woke up hungover. We decided tonight we would just have a more laid back night and just play some board games. She suggested we drive into town and go bar hopping. A few people said they would go with her, but my fiance and I told her that we would probably just hang back because we were still recovering from the night before. She called me boring. That really ticked me off, but I let it go. However, just a little while ago, she and a few friends were pre-gaming to go out and asked if I wanted to take a shot with them. I told her no because I still wasn't feeling well and didn't want to drink tonight. She kept pushing it, so I told her to stop and just respect that I was telling her no. She then went on about how ever since I got engaged, I started acting like I was so much better than her and how I'm no fun anymore. I finally had enough and told her that she needed to grow up. We are not 21 anymore. I do not have the time or energy to go out all the time to get drunk. I'm working towards my future and my goals, and she needs to start getting her act together too. Things got really quiet, and then she ran to her room in tears. She stayed in there for a bit, then came out with her suitcase and said that she was going home because she didn't want to spend any more time with people who were just going to look down on her. After she left, a few friends told me that I had crossed the line and that I could have just said no to her instead of attacking her like that. My fiance is on my side, but my other friends said that I should apologize to her. She might not have wanted to hear it, but I think what I said was something she needed to hear. AITA? ESH. It sounds like you do look down on Lisa quite a bit, and she's picked up on that and is insecure about it as a result. She shouldn't belittle you when you choose not to drink or party, but the judgment and superiority roll off your first paragraph in waves, and I'd imagine she's caught on to that tenfold. She needs to respect that you're in a different phase of life than she is, but you need to respect the same thing when it comes to Lisa. She's not out partying with little kids neglected at home. She's just not as settled down as you seem to be. She may never want to be settled down the way you are. There's no one-size-fits-all path for this. ESH. Her for not taking no for an answer, and you because you definitely do seem to think you're better than her just because you're getting married and doing different things. There's no race in life. She doesn't need to hurry up and settle down just because you are. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.